explain what I'm going to talk about today. So I'm going to tell you a tiny little bit about my background, because for those of you that don't know me, I live in Staffordshire with my husband and 3 children. We do run the business part-time. Jamie is involved, but he also has a very hectic other business, so he's a little less involved at the moment. I also have 2 sausage dogs, which I love to bits. They are my passion. So around Oriflame, which is part-time, I also run a sausage dog hotel where I look after other people's sausage dogs, either, you know, when they go on holiday or when they just want them to come for the day, when, you know, when they've got things on or they go to work or whatever. So I do that. Now it's not, you know, some days I'll have no dogs and I can work Oriflame, you know, to my heart's content. Other days I'll have dogs and I can fit Oriflame in around. So it actually works really, really well for me. I've been in Oriflame for coming up to 4 years in May, and I absolutely love everything about it. I really do love it. I've been in the industry for a lot longer. I've been in the industry since I was 20. Me and Jamie were 24. We were just buying our first house, and we, at the same time, we're both working full time, and at the same time we joined network marketing, and I haven't looked back since. But I have to say that the last 4 years have been the best 4 years. I absolutely love this company, and I'm, you know, now working with products that I absolutely love and I'm passionate about. My favourite products are the Novage skincare. I use the Ultimate Lift set, I absolutely love it. And I also use some of the Proceuticals range, my absolute favourite being the retinol. No, not the retinol. I do love the retinol, I use that, but the other one is the peptides. Sorry, the peptide ampules. I'm absolutely obsessed with them. So I've just started my 2nd set of those and love them to bits. So, you know, what I'm going to do is just share for the next sort of 15-20 minutes or so, just share some tips on, you know, why should we step out of our comfort zone, and how should we step out of our comfort zone, and also just a little bit about personal development in general as well, because personal development is so important. You know, we know what to do. We have such a lot of you know, training. We've got fantastic training on how to do, you know, the things that are in our business, but you know, first of all, you do have to have the right mindset, because if you you perform those actions with the right mindset, then you're going to get totally different results. You'll really, you know, see a difference in your results. So you'll have to excuse me, I do have things written down because I've got a lot that I want to share, so I didn't want to miss anything out. The first thing I will say is that network marketing is absolutely perfect for, you know, people that want to gain more confidence, step out of their comfort zone, you know, just generally develop themselves and grow as people, because with network marketing you can take baby steps and you can, you know, you can have a goal, you can achieve it and then tick it off and then move on to the next thing, and you can do that gradually. The way that the business is, it's perfect for that. There's so many different areas that we can, you know, use to practice to step out of our comfort zone. I remember, you know, when I was very new to the business, very new to network marketing, and you know, I can remember when we had like a presentation we'd have presentations at hotels, and the presentation was split into little sections. So the first time I, you know, got up to speak, it was a very small section, and it really helped me. And I was so nervous at the time, and my sponsor just sort of pushed me to the front of the room and said, "You're doing this part." And I was so, you know, my heart was thumping. I was so nervous, but doing that little bit was, you know, it was brilliant for me, because after that, you know, I felt, oh, I've done that now, and I can move on to do the next thing. So, you know, the business is absolutely perfect, so you are definitely in the right place. I just want to show you this image. Now, I don't know whether this will, obviously it might be back to front, but this is what I, sort of how I look at the comfort zone. So in the middle, in the red there, you've got your little, you know, comfort zone. That's where, you know, we're most happy, we feel safe, we're comfortable, you know, and we just sort of, you know, we'll go along steadily, probably, you know, becoming happy with being in there, you know, and we don't think we want to get out of it. But, you know, it's all the magic and everything happens outside of your comfort zone, doesn't it? So around the comfort zone, I like to look at it as an area of growth, a growth zone. And then around that, I sort of look at it as a kind of a bit more scary zone, a panic zone, if you like. So what I always say to myself and other people is, try and step out of your comfort zone into the growth zone first. Do the things that are just literally just outside of your comfort zone, and get good at doing those. And then you won't be stretching yourself too far and going into the panic zone, because if you do, you might think, oh, I never want to do that again. But if you step gradually into that growth zone, you are going to grow and you'll personally develop, and the things that used to be in your panic zone will become into the growth zone after a period of time if you keep doing this. So that's the way I like to look at it. And I have some tips for you that you can apply to anything. You can apply these to any part of the business, whether it's speaking to people about the opportunity, whether it's offering somebody a catalogue, or offering somebody a skincare sample, talking to somebody online, perhaps reaching out and speaking to somebody and getting a conversation going. You can use these tips for absolutely anything. You can use them for bigger things, like if you are asked to do a talk or a testimonial, or a one-to-one skincare consultation, or things like that. You can use them for everything. They apply across the board. So the first tip I picked up from an author called Paul McGee, and you've probably heard of Paul McGee's books. He's famous for writing Sumo. That was his first book. And I actually met Paul McGee at a conference, and I queued up to speak to him. And again, it was one of those days when I was way out of my comfort zone, but I queued up to speak to him, and he was so helpful. He gave me so much advice. And one of the things that he told me was, instead of being nervous, look at it as being adrenalized instead. The nerves are actually good. If you have nerves, it's a good thing. So if you can be look at yourself as being adrenalized and turn it into that adrenaline and excitement, because we all need adrenaline to do the things that we want to do that are a little bit scary, then that's going to really help. So I always do that now. I always think to myself, no, I'm not nervous, I'm adrenalized. The second thing is to have some affirmations that you really love, that make you feel good. So I've got a huge list of affirmations in my notes on my phone. But some of the ones that I come back to all the time are one by Mike Dooley, who was a guy that featured on The Secret, and he said, I always say the right thing to the right person. And I was like, wow, that is such a cool affirmation, because that again applies to everything that we do. I always say the right thing to the right person. So I always repeat that to myself a few times before I'm about to do anything that's scary. Now I must add that I missed a very key part out of my story at the beginning there. But when I left uni, and all throughout childhood, and I left university, and I went into a few different jobs, and then I ended up at a job in a hospital where I was surrounded by people all the time, and I am a true introvert. I was always shy as a child and growing up, and even into well into my 20s, and until I started the network marketing business. So I was always too scared to do anything. Like I'd got all these ideas. I felt like I was entrepreneurial, and I wanted to make a success of myself, and I wanted to do something meaningful, but I never took the steps because I was always too shy. And these things are things that I've used like for years, absolutely, loads and loads of times, and I know that they work. So the affirmations, I always say the right thing to the right person. Another one that I love is everything is always working out for me. So again, it's such it works for so many different things. Everything's always working out for me. All is well with me. I love that one as well. And I've got loads and loads on on my phone, and I'll touch back on that in a bit later. But another thing that I like to do before anything that's going to be a little bit stretching me is to visualize the outcome. So I like to close my eyes and just think about take myself through the process of what I'm going to do, and then visualize myself coming out the other end, and it's all being a success. So I mean, in our business, we talk to people about the business, we talk to people about, we give people catalogues, we give people skincare. If they say no, it's not a failure, it's just that you've practiced again. So that's the way I look at it. So, but if you want to visualize yourself coming out the other side, whatever the results, but you're just happy with how you've, spoke to that person or dealt with that person or whatever you've done. So visualize, and then if you want to take it to the next level, you can I use visualization a lot in for visualizing what I want to achieve, and and the different levels that I want to achieve in the pay plan and things like that, and the things that I want to do once I've earned that amount of income. So I do use visualization a lot, but I think it can be particularly important when we're talking about doing things that we're a little bit scared to do. The next thing is just very, very simple, is just to stop and take some deep breaths. So I listened to a TED talk once where the lady was talking about, she said, who do you think is the most confident person in the room? And nobody knew the answer. People were coming up with different answers, but nobody got it right. And the most confident person in the room, she said, and you wouldn't be able to tell, is that the person that's breathing the most steadily. So if you can just, our breath is such a valuable tool to us. We can just use it at any time and nobody has to know. So if you just sort of stop yourself and take some deep breaths, just a few, it just really balances you out and makes you feel a lot more confident, and that you can achieve anything. So it's just so simple, but I really do love that one. The next one is to stand in a power pose. Now, I could talk like all day on this subject. I've read a book on this. I've listened to, again, TED Talks on this subject. There's certain poses that we can hold that make us feel powerful. And there's other poses, and well, not so much poses, but other ways that we sit that really don't do us any favours at all. So if you imagine, we spend a lot of time on our phones and our computers these days, and if we're hunched over our phones like this, we're making ourselves really, really small. Whereas if we stand up straight, really think about our posture and how we're carrying ourselves, it can make a massive difference in how we come across and how we come across to ourselves. Because it's not necessarily about how you're coming across to the other person, it's about your body language is speaking to you as well. So if you're all hunched over, or you've got your legs or your arms crossed, or you're just like really, really leaning over, then you're telling yourself that it's just not good. They're not good signals. So you need to stand tall and make yourself as big as you possibly can. So I just used like the Wonder Woman, the classic Wonder Woman pose, hands on the hips, feet a little bit apart, stand up straight for, just 2 minutes will be enough, just before you have to do anything that's a little bit, out of your comfort zone. And you'll find that it really, really helps. And you won't notice at the time that it's working. I did it once when I was about to go into a big meeting with people I didn't know, and I didn't know, I hadn't met any of them before, and I didn't know how to handle it. So I just went into the ladies and stood in this power pose for 2 minutes, and it did really help me. But I didn't know at the time. I thought, what use is this? What good is this doing? But it really did help. Next is do something every day. I like to tell myself to do something every day that really is out of the comfort zone, and it is a little bit scary. We can play it safe and we can hide away, but we're not going to grow. If you step out of your comfort zone, you're going to achieve things that you've never achieved before. You're going to personally grow and develop. There's so many benefits of stepping out of that comfort zone. So, do something every day, just something, like I said, small, that's a little step out of that comfort zone, just to keep practicing, really, because, you will come to a point where things that, were really hard for you will become easy, when you've had enough practice. And it's like everything, practice makes progress. So the next one is make sure you're being yourself. Don't try and be anybody else. You're unique. People will relate to you. Everybody's different. I used to think that people that had to be more sort of loud and more extroverted, but that's not the case. Everybody's different, and everybody out there has different people that they relate to. So it takes all sorts, doesn't it? You've got to just be yourself, and the only person that you should compare yourself to is the person that you were the day before. So as long as you're progressing that tiny little bit each day, that's the only thing that matters. The next one is something that I really feel strongly about, and that is we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. So instead of you know, spending time on the weaknesses and making them sort of better, I believe that we should strengthen our strengths. And when you strengthen your strengths, you become even better at something. So you can become expert in different areas. But if you focus on your weaknesses and try to, you know, to make those into strengths, it's sort of, your focus is on the wrong part. You need to be focusing on the stuff that you're good at and, you know, that lights you up. So that's something, you know, play to your strengths is a really, you know, one of my favourite tips. Think about how you'll feel after you've done it, because yes, you know, you can get nervous or adrenalized, and you can feel, you know, sometimes, you know, you can feel sick, like physically sick when you're about to do something for the first time. But just keep your eye on the prize, keep your eye on how you'll feel after, because I can guarantee you that when you've done something that, you know, you really have had to push yourself to do, you will feel so good afterwards. It's an incredible feeling, it really is. And any of you that have, you know, shared your story or shared training will know that feeling. You know, you can feel really like, oh, I really don't want to do this before, and the build up to it is, you know, can be really terrifying. But after, don't you just feel amazing that you know, and I always try and look at it that you're trying to help other people. Take the emphasis off yourself and look at it that you're helping other people. So yeah, that's another one that I always think about. And then another tip is to practice in areas where you feel most passionate. So what do you absolutely love about the business most? Pick something and then practice in that area. Now, an example of this could be, you know, when I go out with my dogs, walking the dogs, if I bump into somebody and we start chatting about the dogs, I have absolutely no problem whatsoever talking about the dogs, because it's my subject. I love the dogs, I love the breed. I'll spend hours talking about Dachshunds to other Dachshund owners and I've found that other Dachshund owners are exactly the same. Now, if, you know, you put me in a room with somebody that I hadn't met before and I'd got to just talk to them, I couldn't, you know, didn't have that common ground, then it would be a lot harder. So try and pick areas where, you know, you're passionate and use those areas. That's why, you know, a lot of the time we talk about recently we've been talking about going into Facebook groups that are, you know, to do with the things that you love, your hobbies and your interests. You can get conversations going easier when it's about something that you have common ground with the other person. So just think about that. And, you know, and I've spoke to a lot of people in the past that have said that their shyness has disappeared when they've been talking about something they love or doing something they love. So, you know, try and bear that in mind. Another thing that I always remember is the Susan Jeffers quote. Susan Jeffers wrote an amazing book called Fear the Fear and Do It Anyway. And one of the things she says is, whatever happens, I'll handle it. So she just goes out and, you know, takes risks and does what, you know, she needs to do, but says, whatever happens, I'll handle it. And it's another great affirmation to keep in your tool belt. So they were all the tips. I just wanted to also just quickly share on the personal development front, something that I do every day. And I just, you know, since I've been doing this for the past 2 years, it's really changed everything up. And I've felt that, you know, everything's moving forward a lot quicker. So it's my morning routine. It's a morning routine that no matter what, I do it every single day. So it starts as soon as I get out of bed. So instead of the alarm, you know, the sound of the alarm, I've got like one of my favourite songs. So I wake up to my favourite song, and then I turn that alarm off, and then I take the phone into the bathroom with me, but it's not for, you know, for looking. I don't start scrolling, I don't look at emails or anything like that. I simply go to my affirmations page on my notes, and then I brush my teeth. So while I'm brushing my teeth for 2 minutes, I'm scrolling through my affirmations on my phone. And by the time I've done my teeth, I'm feeling really good and really upbeat. So, you know, those affirmations that I mentioned before, I've got other ones like, you know, today is the day of my amazing good fortune. Everything's always working out for me. I feel like $1 million. I love what I do and I earn good money. There's so many different affirmations, and I just, you know, it just makes me feel so good. So I do that. Then whilst I'm getting ready, you know, on my dressing table, I'll have something going on in the background, like an affirmation that's like a musical, you know, like a guided, not a guided meditation as such, but something that's just repeating itself over and over. So I've got one that's all to do with money and wealth, And then I've got another one that's to do with being organised and, you know, telling me that I'm going to get everything done in the day that I need to do. So I'll just listen to something positive in the background. Then I do the school run, and on the way back from the school run, I'll put a YouTube video in my car, obviously to listen to, not to watch as I'm driving. But I always listen to Esther Hicks, which is another thing that I'm passionate about, is the law of attraction. So I always have Esther Hicks on in the car coming back. And then again, that's another 10 minutes of, you know, really good stuff going into my mind. Then I get back and I do at least 10 minutes of usually yoga. Most of the time it's yoga, but today I've just switched it up a little bit and just done a 10-minute YouTube video just to, like, a cardio, or I'll go for a brisk walk. But usually it's yoga. 9 times out of 10 it's yoga, because that's really good for the mind as well. Then I do 10 minutes on my Insight Timer app, which is either you can listen to a guided meditation, or you can just listen to the chime, and then it sort of switches off after 10-15 minutes. And again, focus on my breathing. Then I go to my journal and I write in my journal. And in there I will write numerous things, but there has sort of become a little pattern to it now. I'll start off with gratitude. I'll write, you know, at least 5 things I'm grateful for. Then I move on to writing down abundance. I call it my abundance tracker. I'll write down things that have come into my life that I'm happy about. And it can be tiny things, you know, it can be anything. It can be money, or compliments that people have given me, gifts, absolutely anything that's made me feel good goes on that list. Again, you're acknowledging the good things, and it's like, the more you acknowledge the things that are good in your life and that you're grateful for, the more you will get. Then I might sometimes, I write out, something I do quite often is write out my dream day. So I'll just write out the ideal scenario that I want to happen on my dream day. You know, it can be anything. It can be a whole day, like, you know, you're going on a day trip somewhere with people, you know, that you really want to be with, people that light you up, lift you up. Or it can be, you know, business related. So it can be, today I'm going to, you know, get my first recruit, or today I'm going to, you know, get orders from, you know, 5 new customers, or whatever you want it can be. After that, I always write down, I'm always, again, like, I start with gratitude, but then I always write out, thank you for my new VIP customers, thank you for my new brand partners, thank you for my team, thank you for my upline. I just write everything out. And just begin to feel, you know, really good about that. And then the last thing I do in there is write out pound signs. And this is just, again, something I got from a book years ago, where the author said every piece of paper that crosses his desk, he just started to scribble dollar signs. So I started doing it with pound signs, but then I moved on to sort of write out the turnover that I wanted for the month in the business. So I just write a couple of, you know, lines worth of these figures, and since I've been doing that, it really has helped. It's really, you know, things have turned around. So yeah, I think that was it. There was one more thing that I just wanted to mention on the personal development front. Obviously, you know, we need to be reading every day. Oh, that was another part of my routine. Sorry, I didn't cover that bit, but at the end I read like at least 5 pages, or at least 15 minutes. 5 to 10 pages, 15 minutes of a book, the personal development book that I'm reading at the moment. So it's really important we do that. And I think the reason this routine works is because it's tied into other things. So it's tied into brushing my teeth, it's tied into the school run. As soon as I get back from the school run, I don't do anything else. Even if the kitchen's a mess and I've left it a mess, I don't go into the kitchen. I come straight into the lounge and do my morning routine. And then only after that morning routine do I look at my phone, you know, and look at messages and things, because even I'm done by, you know, 9:30, so it's not like I'm starting the day late, but I know that I've fed my mind first, and it just makes, you know, it just changes how the whole day turns out. So yeah, that was it. The last thing I wanted just to say was, make sure, something that I've learned is to make sure you're doing something every day that you love doing, because I've discovered that when we're doing things that we love, good things happen. And you just need that switch off, you know, and you've got to do it without feeling guilty. So many of us feel guilty if we're not working. When you run your own business, you do feel guilty that you're not doing it all the time. But, you know, there are 24 hours in a day. I'm sure we can take 15 or 20 minutes to just, or even more, to do. The more you can do, the better. But to do something that you love to do, because you will really raise your vibration when you do that, and it will, help you in all areas. I mean, every time, without fail now, every time I go to London, which is my favourite place, I come back with a new VIP customer or a new recruit, and it happened again on Monday, and I'm just literally mesmerised by it. But it happens every time, and every time I go shopping, because that's another thing I love to do, is go shopping. Every time I'm shopping, I sponsor somebody and somebody pays to join, or or I get a VIP customer, and I just, it just happens. It's not coincidence, it happens. So get into that place where you feel good and you're doing something that you love every day as much as you can, and it will change things. And it's all part of, like I say, feeding your mind and focusing on you and feeling deserving, and that you are worth it, because you all are, absolutely. So sorry I've waffled on a little bit longer than I thought. It's half an hour nearly, but yeah, thanks for watching. I'm sorry.